History is not only a story of the past, it is a living force that moves silently through the present. It is carved into our collective memory, shaping how we see ourselves, how we treat each other, and even how we imagine the future. Nations carry it, families inherit it, and individuals feel it in ways they cannot always explain. When we ask, how does history influence the psychology of people, the answer is profoundly, and at every level. Take the legacy of war. After World War II, entire populations were left scarred, not just physically, but psychologically. In Germany, the memory of the Nazi era and the Holocaust became a shadow that influenced national guilt, caution, and the need for reconciliation. In Japan, the trauma of Hiroshima and Nagasaki created a deep cultural memory of loss, humility, and an aversion to militarism. Even today, younger generations carry attitudes shaped not by direct experience, but by stories passed down, shaping how they think about peace, violence, and identity. Psychologists call this intergenerational trauma. It is the silent inheritance of pain. The descendants of enslaved Africans in America, for example, often speak of carrying a weight that cannot be measured in simple statistics. The weight of chains that once bound their ancestors, the memory of segregation, and the echoes of systemic injustice. Even when laws change, the psychological scars remain. Studies show higher levels of anxiety, mistrust, and collective vigilance in communities that endured oppression for centuries. But history does not only transmit trauma, it also transmits resilience. Consider Jewish communities after the Holocaust. Despite unspeakable suffering, many carried forward a fierce commitment to education, cultural identity, and survival. The memory of survival became a source of strength. Similarly, nations that fought for independence, from India breaking free of British colonial rule to South Africa ending apartheid, carry with them a psychology of pride, determination, and self-identity rooted in the struggle for freedom. History influences psychology not only through trauma or pride, but also through silence. When history is denied or rewritten, it creates confusion and mistrust. For example, indigenous communities around the world often find their histories erased from mainstream narratives. The result is not just cultural loss, but deep wounds of identity. When people do not see their story told, they begin to question their value and place in society. This is why memory becomes central to psychology. Collective memory, the way a society chooses to remember its past, forms the backbone of its identity. In the United States, the memory of the civil rights movement continues to inspire new generations too. In Eastern Europe, the memory of Soviet domination shapes suspicion toward authoritarianism. In Rwanda, the memory of the 1994 genocide still lingers, shaping both reconciliation efforts and lingering mistrust. History also influences the way individuals view morality and justice. In Germany, for instance, laws against Holocaust denial are not simply legal measures. They reflect a psychological determination to confront the past honestly, so that trauma is not repeated. In contrast, when societies bury history, as seen in countries where colonial violence is minimized or denied, the wounds remain unhealed, festering in silence, passed from one generation to another. Even at a personal level, family histories shape psychology. A child growing up hearing stories of resilience from grandparents who endured migration, famine, or oppression may develop a stronger sense of perseverance. Conversely, a child who inherits stories of fear or silence may grow up with a subconscious anxiety. The stories we tell and the ones we refuse to tell become part of the architecture of our minds. But perhaps the deepest way history influences psychology is in shaping hope. Oppressed communities do not only remember chains, they remember breaking them. Nations do not only remember the cruelty of war, They remember the rebuilding. People do not only recall injustice, they recall the moments when justice prevailed. These memories are not just facts, they are sparks of imagination that push humanity forward. So how does history influence psychology? It influences it in every possible way. It gives us wounds to heal and victories to cherish. It teaches us caution, but also inspires us with courage. It divides us with painful memories, but also unites us when we choose to remember together. To understand who we are today, we must confront the stories that shaped yesterday. Because in truth, history and psychology are not separate. History is psychology, written across generations, carried in the minds and hearts of people, and etched into the very soul of nations. And the stories we choose to remember or forget will decide not only who we are, but who we dare to become.